Good afternoon everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Volmer. And today is we're going to be doing some work today. Today I'm going to be creating a new town scene. It won't be finished. This is like a part one because I'm still far from finished. It's going to be quite a big job, and so we're just going to get straight on with it. So the reason for me creating a new town scene is I was very happy with the old town scene. The only thing is I've always wanted it a bit bigger, and that's the reason for doing it. And I couldn't quite figure out why or how I was going to go about making a bigger town scene, and so therefore I've now figured it out, and I've now made a massive change to it. And so basically all the town scene end that you've seen before is no longer there. And this video will just sort of show you in bits and pieces what I've been doing and how I've been doing it. And it's something that if you would like to tackle, then basically I'm just explaining to you what I've been doing, and if you want to have a go at doing it yourself, then you can do it yourself. Now, I'm no stranger to making modules. I've got so many modules here to show you. I'm going to be quite quick about it, but I'm just going to show you the ones that I do have knocking about. I still have some of them from, I used to have Bourdillon Gardens over here a little while ago, and it had a station and it had a bus garage. So I've still got the module for the train station for Bourdillon Gardens. This used to be Bourdillon Gardens train station, and this was platform 2. It's a bit dusty because it's been parked up underneath the layout, but here is Bourdillon Gardens. I'm still hoping that I might use this somewhere because I really like it. It's a really nice little station, and I really liked it, and I really enjoyed making it. And whenever I look at it, I still think it's a really nice piece of work that I achieved here. This is basically to do with the old Network South East days, as you can see, and it's got some posters, it's got some signage, it's got a little shelter, and on the back of it, it's actually got an old 80s style bus shelter too. And it's a really nice little module that I put together. There was a bus garage that went with it, and that has also been on my current town scene in the corner. And this is the bus garage that I made. It's a really lovely little module that I made, completely scratch built, as was the station. And I'm still going to be using this on the new town scene. So just to show you how the new town scene went together, I don't want to do that because I don't want to ruin that. Because I'm still going to keep, I'm not sure, I won't be using it again, I don't think, but I do like what I've achieved with this. So here you go, you've got the little ramp here, which I did, which used to go right in the corner. And it's got the foliage, and it's got the railings and all the rest of it. It's even got some signage on the road and some patchwork on the road. And there's nothing wrong with this at all, really, to be honest with you. But like I said, because I wanted something a bit bigger, it doesn't really fit in with what I'm doing right now. So this is going to now be sort of parked up again with the station, but it is a lovely build. But all of these things that I've built, all these little modules that I've built, are all built using the same techniques that I will be showing you in what I'm doing in my new town scene. The only main difference in my new town scene is that it's not actually removable. The top will probably be removable so I can get underneath, but it's actually going to be stuck to the baseboard directly, which I've already done. And again, I will show you that. So you've got this module here, and that's slotted into the corner. And then there was a little piece that added on to that section, and that was this little section here. It's a little box section. As you can see, it's just made out of card. And if you look inside, you can sort of see how it is actually put together, as it's tabbed together just to create the shape that I wanted. And I love working with cards because cards, you can manipulate it into any kind of shape that you want. You don't need massive tools and expensive tools to work with card. just need a good blade or scissors, which most of us have anyway. So you don't need like things like jigsaws and stuff like that. That's called Dremels. That's going to make lots of noise. So you could just use and PVA as well. So those are the main things that I really use as basic tools to do this. So I'll quickly go through that before I take you to the layout. And then the final bit, which is the main bit of the Townscene, which is this kind of L-shaped kind of thing. And this originally was a complete L shape, but then I basically kit bashed it yet again to create this centre tunnel section where I had a line going through, which actually I've never really used. But that was the plan, but this is the new plan. And again, this is just simple card put together in the same construction. And all of these modules all start off life as one big sheet of mount board like this. And this is A3, this is dove grey, this particular colour. But as you can see from some of my other modules, it doesn't actually matter what colour you use, because on the back here is blue and on the bottom is white, but you're not going to see that. You know, the bit that you're going to see, you know, might be, you know, it doesn't necessarily matter because you're going to cover this in brick papers or plastic card or something. So the colour doesn't necessarily matter all the time. But this is what I've gone for on this occasion. I always try and go for the ones that, for example, will help me visualise what I want to do. And what I mean by that is sometimes I'll buy a green mount board if I'm going to put it on the ground and use it as grass, and you just kind of grey maybe for the walls or the brick or whatever, or something like that, and black maybe for the road on top sometimes. And that kind of helps me visualise what I would want to do. But it doesn't, essentially it doesn't really matter, because when you start cutting this up and you start cladding it, you know, you're not going to see whether it's white underneath or whether it's grey. So it doesn't really make a difference. So all these structures, all these modules always start off life as one big piece of mount board. And I get this from my local supplier, which is right by Alton Station, called Alternative Packaging. Fantastic guys there. They do all sorts of stuff for arts and crafts. You can use Hobbycraft. Many people use Hobbycraft as well, which you can get those sheets like that from Hobbycraft, so that's something else you can get. And then there's other bits that you're going to need. PVA glue, which is absolutely fabulous stuff to use, because for example, for doing stuff like cladding the card and covering it in the Metcalf paper, which is something else that I've been using a lot of. On this particular occasion, I used this one, which is the stonework, because that matches in with the retaining walls I've got on the back of the station. Otherwise, I would have tried something else, but this is all just to try and match it all in. So I use that. And like I said, I did use Pritt Stick, but I find that Pritt Stick just really doesn't, A, it doesn't go as far, and B, it doesn't hold as well. So I've tended to use PVA and just dab it on with a sponge onto the card, and then spread it out with a sponge, and then after lay the sheets on top. And that, I find that works a lot better than the Pritt Stick. You'll also need stuff like many of us will have, which is stuff like rulers, pencils, cutting mats as well. That kind of thing is all helpful to get you straight edges and things. Also, one of the most important things, if not the most important tool that I've used throughout all of these modules, is this item here. And this is a hot glue gun. This particular example costs only £5 from Hobbycraft. Absolutely fabulous tool to have in your toolbox if you don't have one. It is so quick and easy to use. I actually want to replace this one for a really more beefy one, to be honest. This has done some fantastic and sterling work for me over the years, but I would actually like to get a proper meaty one like a Bosch one or something like that, one of the bigger ones. I have to have a shout out to Rob McCrane over at Farland Howe for this, because many years ago he put up a video about how much he loved his glue gun, and it got me thinking, and I decided to take a punt and buy one myself. And I didn't buy the big one, I bought this small, cheap and cheerful one just to see how I'd get on with this. And it is absolutely fabulous stuff to use. It's like instant glue. Once it's heated up, you just plug it in, heats it up, heats the glue sticks, and then after you just squeeze the trigger and the glue will come out the nozzle, and then you just stick it down and it's stuck down instantly. And it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant for the corners and trying to create curves, because it will hold the card straight away. You know, if you use other glues, then you kind of looking for things like weights and things, and bottles, because you're trying to hold the position whilst the glue sets. This sets instantly, so you just squirt the glue into the area you want it, put the tab down, and it literally just takes within a few seconds. You can walk away and it will maintain its shape. It's not going to go anywhere or anything. And I'll show it to you. You'll be seeing that on the layout with all the various things. Absolutely fabulous kit to use. So highly recommend it, because like I said, this cost a £5. This is the glue sticks from Poundland, and this cost me £1. So for £6 you got you got a complete tool set here to use, which you can use for your arts and crafts and your hobbies. And it's absolutely fabulous. I've used this so much on my layouts and my modules to create some really intricate stuff. Like the curves, it's all done all in the same way. And like I said, I got this from Poundland, and I've still got a load. It's a 32 pack. Once you get going with these, the glue sticks don't necessarily always last that long, but for £1 for a pack of 32, you can't really go wrong. And like I said, this is the most valuable piece, I guess, for making the tools, making the new Townscene, because like I said, you can really get some interesting curves to create all sorts of things. Absolutely highly recommended, really I would. Like I said, I'm looking to get a more beefy version of that, but that is definitely one of my most used tools that I use to create all my modules. So I'm now going to take you to the layout. So here we are at the layout, and I'm just going to show you exactly why I'm making the new Townscene and why I'm making it bigger. As you can see, I've now realigned all the track work along here. So this is the new track work, and this is the new alignment of it. So all of this section has been completely lifted out. The actual modules I built previously were never stuck down, so they were just literally just lift offs. So it was so easy just to remove them and redo all this. So it's quite easy to sort of reveal this whole kind of area quite easily, because none of it was stuck down. And because I'd added track issues previously, I'd already lifted off the majority of the ballast. The main part of the ballast that was still there was between those points there and back towards the station end by the footbridge there. That was the section that was just ballasted. But now I've basically taken off all the ballast in, sanded this all down, cleaned it up, redone all the track work. Ignore those 2 points coming out, one there, one there. That'll be a story for another day. But for now, this is how I want it to be. So now the board that I've cut, the board that I've showed you, I've basically now cut into strips. And what I've done is, as you can see, there's one right at the back there, just down there. And I'm going to take you closer to it. I'm going to remove this backboard and I'll take you closer to explain more. So the plan is to cover this whole area and create a bigger Townscene. And this white piece here is actually this same grey piece, except on the other side it is white. And the plan for this is basically to create a whole new town scene without using wood, just using card. I like using card because it's easier to manipulate. And what will happen is that will go in there, and basically I will be following the line, the natural curve of the layout, and basically boxing this all in, as you can probably see here. So all of this will be boxed in, and then the town scene will go on top. And this won't actually be a module, this actually will be stuck down directly to the board. And again, it doesn't matter if I want to remove this at some point, because it's cards, it'll be easily scraped off. I could soak it and basically scrape it all off if I want to in the future. So it's a very easy way of doing things. And also with card is it bends a lot easier. And all I'm just doing is following the contours of the layout. So this curve, all of this will be hidden with this other sheet, and that will be curved around. And then that will follow the natural path of the layout when it comes to here. So it will just sort of follow off that line there. So that will be the natural exit point for that. And then, like I said, we'll be boxing in this like we did before, except, well, we'll have a town scene, but a bigger town scene, which would basically mean this whole middle bit here, this whole section here will be hidden underneath, but there will be access to all the point work underneath. So it's not going to be totally hidden. As you can see here, there's also some tabs, and those are the tabs that I bend over and then stick to the baseboard. And that's how it all gets glued and stuck down. Just basically hot glue gun, and then you just tab it all the way around and stick it down all the way around. Then it isn't an issue then. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to carry on with that. And like I said, that board line finishes just above the buildings, just so you don't see the bottom of the buildings. What I mean by that is, so you just don't see it like that. So there isn't going to be like a sort of sky bit like that, where you know, so I'm going to hide all that. So it's just literally just a mil or two higher, so it just covers the bottom of the building. So when you put the road surface down, it doesn't look like the building's floating over the road. So here's one of the pieces that I've just scored, and what you do is you score it with a knife, and you only need to go over it once and then just bend it over. If you score it too much, then basically you can end up splitting this bottom piece off, and then you won't be able to use it. Now, as you can see on straight lines, it's perfectly okay to leave the tab like this, but it's not very flexible and it can't go around the corners. So what you have to do is to create the tabs with some triangular pieces cut out in order for it to be able to get around the corners, which is what I'll show you. So as you can see, that straight piece of tab has now been cut into sections, little triangles cut out. So you've got all these individual tabs. And what this does is it allows you to bend the card round in any way you like and be able to glue it down. If you left it straight, then it'd be just too rigid and you wouldn't be able to flex it and get it around the corners that you wish to get it around. That's why you need to do it on the straight pieces like down there, because it's one straight line, you don't have to cut the notches out. But because we're going to try and bend this piece around here, then you need to be able to bend the card round, so you need to cut the notches out. So when you glue it down, you can bend the card round and the card will just stay upright. So as you can hear, my 66 is running around, my new 66 is running around with some wagons, and I'm just testing out the clearances. So what I've done is I've put some blue tack just to temporarily hold down where I'd like to make the holes for the entrances, and so I'm just checking the clearances and whether or not, because at this stage if I need to cut it, I can just lift it off and just trim it a bit more and just see how it goes. So what I'll do is I'll just test it on the outside loop as well when it comes round, So its next pass, it's going to go on the outside loop, and then we'll test the clearances on the outer loop. So it's just coming around now on the outer loop, platform 5. And there's no issues there. So that's good. I'm going to give it another couple of passes or so. And then I'll send it on the inner loops, and I'll see whether or not... I won't bother pausing the camera, because then you can see it in real time whether or not this is actually all working as a test. So this is like a real live test at the moment. So it's past platforms 5 and the fast track coming down. And now we're going to just send it onto these tracks just here and test the clearances on this porthole here. I think that's going to be tighter, but I think it will work. But we'll see. It just started going over that point over there, but there's an issue with that point. I need to clean that up. It does slow right up here because it's quite tight around here. But it seems to have coped well. That's fine. It's now going to come onto this inner loop as I just flick the switch over. So it's just coming onto the inner loop now, which is the tightest one. So the clearance on that is fine. As it comes around the outside once more. So the last test for this bit is just to see whether or not 166 can come around this tight curve. It's actually been relaxed more than what it was before, but we're just going to see whether or not it has any issues with the clearances and whether or not that has to be trimmed down a bit. So here it comes. And bearing in mind, this is the longest unit I have between this and the 158 that will use it. The 150 is very short. So that's good. So I'll just send it back in. So basically, if this one goes in there with no problems, then all the others won't have any issues as well. Excellent. So as you can see, I've now progressed quite substantially with the Townscene, and you can actually get an idea of the footprint of the Townscene when it's all finished. As you can see, it starts along here where the tunnel entrance is, and it goes all the way around here, wraps around here, and goes all the way to the very end where it meets up sort of over there. So it makes the Townscene a lot bigger. And all of this is glued in situ. This is my cheap, cheerful glue gun. Cost me a £5, I think, from Hobbycraft or Wilco's or something like that. I think actually this came from Hobbycraft. And then I managed to get some glue sticks from Poundland. And this whole pack of glue sticks, 32, cost me £1. So £6 just for the materials. Can't recommend this highly enough. It's really quick and easy to use. Obviously it heats up to provide the heat, then melts the glue, which then passes through the nozzle and onto the surface of your choice. And it's so quick and easy to do and use for these kind of projects. As you can see, it's all a bit of a mess at the moment, but this is pretty much going to be how it's going to be. And then I'm going to wrap it in Metcalf stone card to match the rest of it. And it's all pretty sturdy stuff. You can see the tab technique that I've used all the way around. This is all glued direct to the baseboard, so it's not removable. I'm going to leave this as it is. The foundations are going to be stuck down, and the roof or the top part will be removable. So I'll show it to you from the front end. So as you can see from this view, when the trains come round and you look in, you can't see what's going on in the back of the kitchen. So all of this grey that you see is all going to be wrapped in Metcalf stone card. Then the rest will be ballasted. And then so when you look right down into it, you're not really going to be able to see what's going on. And then there's this step down that comes out of the tunnel porthole. Down the end, as you can also see, that you can see all the cutouts for the trains to pass through, and once again you can't see what's going on in the back scene or anything like that because the wraparounds come round. So all that's going to be clad in there's going to be a lot of Metcalf stone paper on this layout, but I'm just trying to keep it unified, so to keep it all the same, so that's why I'm going to go with that again. The closed pegs are because basically I've added this additional piece of card, and that's just gluing to this piece of card. And again, that's just to hide the joint in the card. There's a joint in the card there. But again, once you put the Metcalf paper over it, you won't see the joins. I'll give you another example of the joins. I'll bring you round. Here you go, here's another join here. But that's got another double piece on the back, so that's all joined together. On this section, we've got the 2 tracks which will come out. But again, like I said, that's a story for another day. So there's a sort of plan for it, but not set in stone, so that's why there isn't much said about it. And then if I just try and put this in, as you can see, the more closed pegs, and you can see like the wraparound again. So as the trains come round, you can't see what's going on in the back. As far as you can see, it's just the wall. So if I drop you down further, so this is where the exit point is, and I take you out just a little bit. There you go. So when you pop the camera in, you can sort of see what sort of views you can get. So you'll see like the Metcalf walling coming across, the Metcalf walling going across, and if I sort of zoom in a bit, you will probably get views of the station. So again, and then you'll have some running shots of the trains coming out of this section. So again, it's quite a nice viewing angle once it's all set up and done. And again, as you can see on this, you've got this bit of the wall here, which is going to be clad in brick paper, and that one, sorry, in stone paper, and that one as well. So basically, once this is all done up, you know, one of my bugbears is with a lot of people is it's just something that bugs me. I don't particularly like it much. Is when people put tunnels on their layouts and then you just sort of forget about them. So they don't bother with any kind of detailing or anything inside. So when you stick a cam truck through the tunnel, all you can see is just basically see right through the back of the layout and into either the kitchen or the lounge, or maybe you could just see the supports. But there's no sort of that detailing that they put so much effort in on the outside. Doesn't really go into the tunnels or anything on the inside. So when you run a cam truck around it, it just looks awful. And that's why I'm detailing the inside. So when I run a cam truck around the layout, around this back part of the layout, hopefully you'll still get some decent views. I might not be able to hide everything, but hopefully the majority of it I will be able to. And so that's why I'm going through all this bother. So the Townscene will kind of go on top of this. So I've now got to do the supports that run across there and all the way across. So it will hold the top on. So when the top goes on, it's got some supports to go on. So it's going to go on this section here. And obviously on that section here. So for the final part of this video, just to let you know that I started cladding it. I'll get into it a bit more in a minute. I bought this, which is MO057 from Metcalfe. Basically it's the stone sheets that you can buy separately. And basically it's to complement the arches on the back that Mini gave to me some time ago over at Mini Westhassing Junction. And so basically I bought the stone sheets to complement it, and this one pack has basically done all of this, which makes life a lot easier. So this is how far I've got now. One pack wasn't quite enough. However, I had enough odds and ends because I think Metcalfe have got some sort of issues trying to get their stock together. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but Paul was saying to me that he couldn't get hold of a lot of stuff from Metcalfe at the moment, so I'm not sure quite why. But as you can see, I have managed to finish it in terms of the cladding on the inside as you look through the tunnel entrance. And then as you can see from here, I've done the inside here, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, all the way through there, around there, back round here, and over here. And you do get some lovely views. And you've got this bit here, which I've done. You can get some good views from in here. Let me just try and zoom it in, and then I'll be able to get quite a good view of it. But yeah, that's how it looks. So you can get some good views from there. If I spin the camera around, I can have some good views of the train coming around the corner, around the bend. Like I said, it is going to have a top on it. So at the moment it doesn't have a top. But if I just show you the track plan. Currently, that's what's been altered. And this will give me a more substantial amount of room for the Townscene, because it just used to be just this bit here, and then the ramp that goes up. And so now I've got all of this area here to play with, and all of this area here, and then all of this area here before you go back out. But like I said, you've got these bits which are hollow, those bits and those bits. So I'm going to put a load of supports in there just to be able to support the top. But I love working with card because with card you can make all kinds of shapes and sizes. And like I said, as I've gone around the curve, you can see the tabs that are along here. So these are the tabs for the curves, but they'll all be covered over with ballasting and all the rest of it and scenery. So that would be my next job before I do put a top on it. But the top's going to be removable, so we're going to see how that pans out. But yeah, I'm planning on doing some work, and also probably putting some girders across here, give it a bit more details, give it a bit more support. So that might be something else that will probably go in, and at least that way when you get down to track level, and if you see the roof on the top here, you might be able to see the girders. So again, it just adds that little bit of extra detail. So it is quite a bit bigger. The actual bus station or bus garage that I had here is going to stay there. The road plan, I think, is going to be very similar to what it was before, but obviously now I can have 2 lanes and maybe a junction or something. But the road is still going to curve around like it did before, and it's still sort of drawn up where that building is like it did before, except there won't be a ramp, it'll just be a straight road all the way across. And then over here there might be some buildings, or maybe what I might do is put a junction here and basically have some buildings in front of this building, and then sort of maybe have a little peekaboo of a vehicle coming out from the side road or something like that, possibly. I haven't really thought about it too much, to be honest, because I've just been getting on with this. That's where we are. So thank you for watching this video, and that concludes today's video. I'm sorry if it's a bit long-winded. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm not actually sure how long this video is going to be, because this has been recorded over a number of days. So I'm assuming it's going to be quite a long video. But thank you if you stuck with it, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and join me for the next part of the Townscene build, and hopefully we'll get a lot more done as well. So until the next time, it's goodbye from Mildenhall and Vollmer. Goodbye.